Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, the one place you can go to escape Taylor Swift. Also, Nikki got hugged by a manatee. All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. IKEA is looking to hire 10 people to work for them in Roblox. They are taking applications now, doing interviews later this week, where they are actually going to pay people to work at an IKEA store that's in Roblox, in something called the coworker game within Roblox. Now, if you wanted to be considered for this, you do have to be in the UK or Ireland and also over 18 years old. They're paying what equates to about $15 per hour. But for me, this is not something that appeals to me at all. And it's nothing against IKEA or Roblox. What it is that I just don't think that gaming and work should mix. Like, to me, gaming should be fun and work should also be fun because I hate doing real work, but gaming should definitely not be work. And to me, serving up virtual meatballs and helping people find virtual furniture that they put together themselves sounds a whole lot like work to me. It's something that I just don't want to do for gaming or for fun or for work, no matter how much you pay me. It's the Hudson Show. To my shock, as we return from the weekend, we're 2 games into the NBA Finals, and the Celtics are up 2-0 on the Mavs. How did this happen? Well, I have to give the Celtics a lot of credit there. Defensive intensity, like they have just brought it on the defensive end, which has made the Mavericks just about unable to get anything going offensively that doesn't revolve around Luka himself. And then PJ Washington has played fairly well, but even Kyrie has kind of seemed very stifled versus the Celtics so far. Although last night's game, still very close. The Mavs had a chance there at the end, a big missed call on a game-changing block that the Mavs very well still may not have won the game. But you'd like to see that probably called accurately there in crunch time at the end of the game. However, I do think, talking of the refs, that you go back to Dallas. Dallas will have a little bit of a friendlier whistle, and I definitely think that the Mavericks get these next 2 games coming up, I don't know, sometime next month because of the way the NBA spaces out their games. And then the series is going to be completely different. Tied 2-2 going back to Boston when the pressure's on. Give me the Mavs. I'm still sticking with Luka. Nikki is once again back, rearing her head on the show. Hello, Nikki.
We could have introduced a little better. I don't rear.
Anyone can rear.
I don't know, Hudson. I don't know.
I always love when you rear your head on the show.
Okay, fine.
Nikki, the reason I woke you up for this is I wanted to know, do you and Eric ever get into any disagreements about your cars? Do you guys share cars?
We don't, but I don't like when Eric drives my car. I don't. And he had a battery issue because, when you move to Florida, your batteries last like half the life because of the heat and stuff. Uh-huh. So he has 2 batteries in his truck that went bad that they just changed out. So he had to drive my car. I have a Jeep. Because his wouldn't start, basic little things. And it would drive me bonkers because if you have a Jeep, there's profiles that you can. And so he would put it on his profile. The seats would change. The stereo stuff is all changed. Like, it would just drive me crazy. And I'd see his little icon. I was like, why can't you just change it back? It's my car.
That's what I thought the beauty of the profiles would be, is that you're just number 1 and he's number 2. And then you just press the 1 when you get in. What's the big deal?
I shouldn't have to press the 1. He should, when he's done driving, press my number back.
It is your car.
So it goes back to my profile when I start the car, because he puts his chair, like, he's taller, so he puts his chair way back. And I just get in and I'm just like, what am I doing? And then you got to put your seat back. Well, so outside of that, no, not too much.
I want to let you know, Nikki, I'm looking at the reason I brought this up is because of this survey that asked like couples if they like what they argue about when it comes to their car. And that's like all the top stuff, where the seats are, the mirrors, and whatever. Because especially if you don't have a car with the profiles and you have 2 different people driving, they can get moved all around in all kinds of different configurations that aren't the way you personally want it. And so that's basically the top annoyance that couples have with each other. For me, that's not the case though. Me and Angela are very similar heights, so we don't really have that issue. However, and I might get in trouble for saying this, we fight about something else.
Say it. What is it?
Here's this, is that we have different philosophies when it comes to taking garbage from our car and throwing it in the garbage. And my philosophy is to do that, and hers isn't. So
she has a different approach on that. I understand.
But I mean, hey, you know what? I can't knock her because her method works. Her method is to just leave it until I take it to the garbage, which
it does
works pretty well. Eventually I do it. Usually like after one ride, I take it inside. So in fact, the RadioU
does she bring a lot of cups and stuff, or is it not too bad?
Oh, actually, you know what? That's worse. So there's one thing if it's like a cup from McDonald's, and then when I get to work in the morning after she drove the car the previous day, I can just bring it in. The RadioU garbage is filled with McDonald's cups from her, but
yeah, those aren't yours.
Yes, for anybody wondering. But what's worse is when she brings a like one of our cups from inside and then leaves it in the car, because I can't just throw that away. I have to remember to bring it in when I get home and then wash it. So that's a whole different issue. So
I feel like everybody can text in at 8772 RadioU, because do you hear Hudson, like it bothers him and it's coming out? So he's going to feel better. But what else is there that your special someone, if they share your car, annoys you? Not about like outside driving, like do they brake too much or do this or that, but what's in the inside part that really bothers?
Yeah, well, and it's good to get this out, because Nikki, you know this too. Once you've been with somebody long enough, you know that there's some things that just aren't worth. It's not worth me talking about to her leaving her garbage in the car anymore.
But
it's
on
not
the
worth
show it is.
Yes, it is. I still need to get it out to somebody sometime. And
you feel better. This wasn't about me at all. This was really you.
We can use your help in today's Fired or Hired. Get ready to share your advice at 877-2 RadioU. And if you ever have a workplace dilemma, trouble at the office, you can use 8772 RadioU to share as well. And we'll try to get you some help here in Fired or Hired on the Hudson Show. Today's dilemma. You have a guy who says, I work in a small office with a close-knit team. We all get along well, except for the borrowing habit of my coworker. Here's the issue. This coworker constantly borrows my stuff, stapler, highlighters, even my lunch once, although she did replace it sheepishly. I get it. Small things happen, but it's become excessive. My stapler goes missing. I find it on her desk. I bring a new pack of pens. Half are gone by the week's end. The other day, I brought a specific coffee mug, a limited edition one from my favorite band. It wasn't dishwasher safe, so I hand washed it and left it on my desk to dry. I come back from a meeting and it's gone. I see the coworker in question using it at her desk. I calmly asked for it back, explaining it's very special to me. She apologized and said she'd be careful, but I was firm. I told her I needed it back because it wasn't something I wanted to risk getting damaged. She got huffy, claiming I was being dramatic and that it was just a mug. I said, it's not just a mug to me. And that repeatedly taking things without asking was inconsiderate. She stormed off, and now everyone in the office is giving me the silent treatment, implying I'm overreacting. What's the verdict here? What's the advice? What does he do? Fired or hired? 8772 RadioU. We hear from Jessica, who says, no, the desk is sacred and should be left alone. Those are his personal things. I'm surprised. I'm with you, Jessica. I'm surprised that the rest of the office is taking the gal's side in this. That they're not like, but I think it's just because she's not stealing from their desk. So we agree, Jessica. Why are you taking things from other people's desks without asking? That's just a no-no. Evan said, just start taking things from her desk. That sounds nice. Although, what if she is taking from everybody else's desk and then you start taking from hers and then it looks like you're the one that's stealing from everyone in the office? I don't know. It sounds like that's not the case, but I like the little tit for tat that we're doing there, Evan. That's one way to go about it. Mercedes says, I'd silently go clean desk for a while and see what happens. You could also go a step further, be super nice to everyone, maybe even bring in cookies or something like that, and put one on every one desks, including hers, to show you're not treating her differently. I don't know. I feel like that's going a little above and beyond, but I do like the clean desk thing, which is similar to what Jamie says. Jamie says, I've dealt with something similar in the workplace, and what I did, and it helped, was keep my stuff locked up. It is, of course, annoying at times when you have to unlock it to get to it, but if she's not going to stop, that may be what he needs to do. It seems like talking to her is not going to help because, he already did that, but also ignore everybody else because they actually have nothing to do with it. I mean, you don't want to be the one guy around the office that everybody's giving the stink eye to, but other than that, like, she's right. They aren't involved in this. It's really between you and that one coworker that's stealing everything. And talking about keeping stuff locked up, it's kind of like your passwords, man. Like, yes, people should not go ahead and be stealing passwords to other stuff in the world, but that's why we have to have like two-factor authenticators and all this stuff that is incredibly annoying. Codes emailed to you and whatever, incredibly annoying. But at some point when you realize it's a problem, that's just what the lengths you have to go to. And although this case, the reason that it's different is that she's kind of openly doing this and for some reason not getting talked to, which is why, of course, even though it's a small office, your last option might be AR, talking to some kind of HR, or talking to some kind of higher up, unfortunately. It's time for our Monday tradition here on the Hudson Show. We call it the Box Office Breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Your number one movie of the week. It was a good weekend for Bad Boys Ride or Die with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. What is that? The fourth Bad Boys movie they've made at this point. And no wonder they keep making them because they keep making money. $56 million in North America for Bad Boys Ride or Die. That's pretty solid, especially considering how poor the box office has been for so many other movies as of late. That was number one. Number two, well, let me skip 2 and 3 to tell you about number 4, the other new release this weekend, and it was not a good week for The Watchers. That is the new horror movie about Ireland and, I don't know, being watched. It only made $7 million. The reviews for that, we talked about in the weekend watch list on Friday, were not good, and it only made $7 million. It was such a bad weekend for The Watchers that it was surpassed by both the Garfield movie and If at the box office. That was number 2 and 3. Finally, number 5, still hanging in, is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, what did you watch recently? Let me know at 8772 RadioU if you have any good recommendations or things to avoid. I'll tell you, I watched 2 things recently. One, UHF. It's a movie from the late 80s starring Weird Al Yankovic. And look, it's just a goofy movie. It's just a weird movie, very 80s. It was on Tubi. By the way, Tubi, I've actually watched several movies on Tubi lately. If you want to watch like just kind of weird older stuff you might have forgotten about or never seen in the first place, Tubi, it's free. I've actually started to kind of like Tubi a little bit. The other movie I watched was on Disney Plus. It's called Life of Pi. It's a movie that came out in 2012, I think. A movie about a guy. The majority of the movie is a guy alone, lost at sea with a tiger on a boat, and he's trying to survive and get to shore somewhere. And this is one of those movies that was critically acclaimed when it came out, made a lot of money, had a big budget too, which is shocking because it's based off a book. Like, I just don't think they make movies like Life of Pi here in 2024, and did well at the Oscars too. And I had never seen it and didn't I watched it, but I didn't have particularly high expectations despite all of that because I just hadn't watched it for so long. A movie like that, you're just like, I mean, how could it really be, you know? But it was actually really solid. Like, it's a longer movie, at least it felt long, but in a way of, I was impressed how it kept my attention the entire time. Again, because the majority of the movie is just one guy with a CGI tiger on a boat. You missed it on Reddit. A teen is speaking out. He's 18 years old, just went on a big 18th birthday cruise with his parents. And while at one of the islands, his parents refused to go back to the ship on time. They were more interested in shopping than getting back on time to the ship. He abandoned them to get back to the ship on time, and then the cruise ship took off without them, and now they're upset with him. He is in a good position, though. You know what position he's in? The position of being able to go, I told you so. To me, I love, isn't that such a good feeling to be able to say to somebody else, I told you so? It's so satisfying. But being on the receiving end of a told you so is one of the worst feelings that you can possibly feel. We all want to avoid that as much as possible, which is why I try to not told you so too much. But I feel like that's why many of us, we have this mindset that God is an endless told you so. Because, you know, God, as smart as he is with all the wisdom that he has, he knows everything. So he knows he's given us so many instructions. And so anytime we misstep, that God is just waiting there to go, told you so. You shouldn't have done that. Now look at you reaping the consequences, reaping what you sow. But that's not what Jesus wants to do. Jesus is not there to go told you so and make you feel even worse after you know you've misstepped. Jesus is there to pick you up, to help you and say, hey, yeah, we may have made a little screw up here, but it's going to be okay. Things can get better. And he's not going to told you so. If you want to avoid that but find out what God's really about, start talking to him, find out straight from him. In the midst of useless knowledge, today's useless knowledge, all about corn, since today is National Corn on the Cob Day. Your question, which university is responsible for the invention of sweet corn in the 1950s? And then I narrowed it down. I said, you know what? There's a lot of universities in the United States and in the world. Let's narrow it down. Which Big Ten university, which still only narrows it down to about 56, but I think it's helpful. So some guesses coming in. Many people, of course, trying to give Ohio State credit for this. They've done a lot. They did not invent sweet corn. Also, the obvious guess, Nebraska. Nope. Even though they are named the Corn Huskers, that's about all they have going for them there in Nebraska. But they did not invent sweet corn. But we did have a few people actually get this one right and knew that it was the University of Illinois. That's one of the few things that university at least has going for it. At least, I mean, I only sports. That's all I know. They're not very good at many of them. But they did invent sweet corn. If you're a big corn fan, do you care that the city of Plainview, Minnesota hosts Corn on the Cob Days every August? It includes a Corn on the Cob parade. So if you want to take your love of corn to the next level, you can plan a trip to Plainview, Minnesota. Man, I do love corn. I don't think I love it that much to go all the way to Minnesota, but I do love some corn. I should get, you know what we should do? We should all get some corn today to celebrate. Hard to believe that with all the promotion revolving around Deadpool and Wolverine, it's still over a month away from release, July 25th, when that finally comes out. And one of the things that many people are looking forward to was hopefully seeing Taylor Swift in the movie. There was rumors swirling after she showed up at a Chiefs game with Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Sean Levy that she was going to be in the film. Some saying she was going to be the character Dazzler. Others saying that she was going to be Lady Deadpool. And now, according to Entertainment Weekly, it is confirmed she won't be in the movie. No Taylor Swift in Deadpool and Wolverine, at least if Entertainment Weekly can be believed. And it's a crushing blow. It is tough if you're a Taylor Swift fan. But at the same time, just because she showed up with those three guys at a Chiefs game, other than that, there was no other reason to believe she was going to be in the movie in the first place. So really, should we be upset if you're looking forward to seeing Taylor Swift, or did you just let your expectations get too high, let your imagination run a little too wild, and now you just have to come back down to reality? Either way, no Taylor Swift and Deadpool and Wolverine, but I don't think that's going to slow it down to the box office whatsoever. It should be the one movie this summer. Gets people back going out into the theaters, July 25th. Who can forget? We're in an election year, presidential election coming up. In fact, the first presidential debate, actually just a few weeks away. Well, as we get closer and closer to election day, it sounds like a lot of Americans might want to vote for themselves. A new survey has come out that says 37% of Americans believe that they would make a better president than the current candidates running. That means if the options on the ballot were Trump, Biden, RFK Jr., and myself would win. Fortunately for me, I'm not eligible. Born in Canada. Wouldn't work. Oh, but we can wonder what could have been. Microsoft just held their Xbox showcase. They revealed their new Xbox Series XS lineup that's coming out later this year. And to say people are underwhelmed might be an understatement, which is understandable. Basically, the new consoles that Xbox is coming out with, just get rid of the disk drive, add a terabyte or two of storage, and they're in different colors. But they're not anything meaningfully different from the Xbox you probably already own if you're a gamer, which some people are upset about. You know, they're underwhelmed, upset, especially because they're charging like $600 for these. But to me, I actually see it as a positive. I see it as good news because now I don't have to worry about upgrading. I don't have to budget for that. I can just keep on going with what I already have. Oh yeah, and by the way, they announced a new Gears of War E-Day and put out the trailer for that, which obviously looks sick. Hello, Nikki.
Good morning, Hudson. Good morning, everyone.
It's so good to hear from you, Nikki. Nikki, you were telling me recently off the air, of course, that you had an interesting experience with a manatee. I guess that's one of the perks of living in Florida.
It sounds like a lead into a joke, but yes, I did. I had an experience with a manatee, and I didn't know if everybody wanted to hear what happened.
Oh, when you say Nikki and manatee, people want to know. People definitely want to know.
I was always a dolphin person growing up. Like, mind you, everyone, I wanted to be a marine biologist. So, I really like marine animals. And I always thought the manatees were the dumb cows of the sea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they call them sea cows for a reason. Dolphins much more majestic.
They do. But now I'm a changed person, and I'm totally for Team Manatee, and I've moved past Team Dolphin.
And why is that exactly?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
A manatee hugged me. Yay!
Was it a stuffed manatee, like a mascot or something? Or was this actually in the sea?
It was a manatee in the ocean. So basically, the water's really warm, and I was at a place where it's like a jetty. So boats come in and out, and then if you go around the corner, that's a beach area. Very popular with manatees. And I was swimming there. I was with a bunch of people. And they're like, hey, you could see a sheriff's boat like off in the distance. Like you could tell it's manatee time because they kind of make sure to watch. You're not allowed to touch manatees. But if they happen to come up to you, they can touch you, obviously. You have no choice about that. And so we were swimming and a bunch, like probably 10 manatees come around during the time we're at the beach.
Yeah.
And one comes up to me and it sticks its nose out of the water. They're really weird, like creatures looking like it's almost like they're covered in barnacles. And it's like a walrus sort of weird mixture
thing.
thing.
Seem so big and sorry, manatees, but fat that you'd think they'd be kind of soft. But I don't think that's accurate. Their skin has probably got to be real rough, right?
It is almost kind of like a tire with barnacles on it. And so it came up to me and I'm freaking out. I'm like, don't touch it because you will get, I mean, that's why the sheriff's boat's around. Like people film people to try to get them in trouble for touching manatees because you can get like, I don't know, some areas it's like $500 is the ticket.
Yikes.
Some areas you'll be imprisoned. So like you're not really supposed to touch these things. So he comes up to me, Hudson, and the manatee sticks its nose out of the water and it blows like ocean water. And I was talking at the time. It did. And I was talking at the same time. And so its snot nose water went in my mouth.
Oh, now hold on. I thought you said that you've been changed and you're now a manatee fan. This doesn't sound like a positive experience.
But it made me nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what if like it's some weird disease and it just went in my mouth and in my body. This is
how the next coronavirus gets started, is from you.
It did. It started with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. But then what he does is he takes his little flipper and he puts it around my leg and he takes his other flipper and he pulls me in and he hugs me while I'm trying not to touch him. It was so cute. I am Team Manatee all the way.
I'm still a little confused about this though, because manatees don't strike me as having lightning speed. So when you saw them coming, you know you're not supposed to touch them. Like, why couldn't you just move away at a rather leisurely pace? And
well, first off, that's not a manatee person talking right there because you don't just swim away. And they actually kind of surprise you because you don't see them in the water until they're kind of like near you, because it just looks like, you know, you're like, is that a shark? Is that a dolphin? Is that a manatee? What's this big
all the
mass
things that
under
I
the
would
water?
swim away from, by the way.
I know, but then you're like, oh my gosh, what if it comes to me? So you don't want to crowd them and stuff. But so I'm going to send you the picture so you can see what the manatee and me look like.
That's awesome. You had a cameraman on hand and everything.
Yeah, Eric was there and he filmed the whole thing. So I'm just like, why do I have video footage of all this? But I was glad he got it all.
I'm glad that you got to do that. One, because it sounds like it was a positive experience for you, but more importantly, because it was a good story for the show. So.
I know. I've always wanted to. Here, wait. Let me send this to you so we can get I'm going to send it on Google, okay?
Okay. Well, you should do is send it to Nene because he can post it on Instagram, which is where people really want to see it, I'm sure.
No. Okay, we could do both. Okay, let me send it. Hang on. Believe it or not, I have a lot of pictures of this incident. Okay, I just sent it to you, and you tell me if I look excited or not.
Oh, I need to, hold on. Let me look.
You need to be logged in at all times, Hudson.
You don't look as happy as I thought you would.
Because it scared me.
How did you not see it coming either? The water's it's clear enough.
Technically, okay, that's when it stuck the water in my mouth, like it sprayed the water on me. And then in your mind, you're just going, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. So you're kind of panicking at the moment.
Oh my gosh. What a life. What a different world you live in than me at this point.
I know, you're just, you have to be where I am and be where the manatees are.
Yeah, every day, new adventure.
I was telling JR, I was like, I am a chosen one.
You've been accepted into the manatee community.
I have been.
Whatever. What do they call a group of manatees? The horde?
I'm sure it's not a flattering word.
No, not, yeah. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, please don't. It's a murder.
I'm so torn on Cybertrucks, man. Like, are they stupid or cool? Are they ugly or actually awesome? Are they ridiculous or futuristic? I just can't say. I can't decide. But I will tell you, the videos have been going around of people spending the night sleeping in the bed of their Cybertruck, proving that it is possible because it's got a tailgate back there, and you slide the cover over you. You're nice and enclosed. There are lights in there, but all you need to do is use your app that controls your Cybertruck to turn those lights off, and boom, it's a nice, cozy, possibly a little claustrophobic night of sleep. Now, granted, you can do that in any truck, and you don't need an app to control the lights for most trucks, but nevertheless, it is possible to sleep in the back of a Cybertruck. But just because you can sleep in the back of a Cybertruck doesn't mean you should. It kind of feels like the type of move you would pull after your wife kicks you out of the house for spending too much money on a Cybertruck. This is Love 'Em or Leave 'Em on the Hudson Show. If you've ever got a dating dilemma, let us know. 8772 RadioU, and we can help you out like we're going to do for this gal who, this is a little different situation. She says, I recently got a master's degree that I'm really proud of. However, the job opportunities in the industry where I would potentially work are currently scarce where I live. I'm sending open applications almost every day. There aren't any open positions, and people are getting laid off. This was not the case when I started studying. If it was, I wouldn't have chosen this path. So I work in a grocery store. I don't really love it, but I can pay rent, pay my bills, and eat. That's pretty much it. I can't afford anything else. But that's not the problem. That's right, because it's a love 'em or leave 'em. So here's where we get to the issue. The problem is that I'm so embarrassed about my current work situation that I can't go on a date because I would have to tell my date what I do for a living. I assume people are going to just think I'm lazy, or that there's something wrong with me, or that I'm looking for someone rich, which I'm not, or that I'm just not ambitious enough. So I guess I wonder if my situation is a turnoff. I still believe it isn't going to be the situation this way forever, and I will get a job in the future. Should I wait until my career is where I want it to be to start dating? So this is a love 'em or leave 'em. Like, this gal's on the market, but she's a little embarrassed with the work situation. Should she still get on out there, or should she wait until her career is in order? 8772 RadioU. What are your thoughts? What are your advice for this woman? A master's degree, but not being able to put it to good use right now. We have Tom, who says, love 'em. If you wait until your career is in order, it will never be enough. You just can't plan love. It just happens. So you have to let it happen. I like that. Yeah, you just never know. You never know. Also, Dylan says, don't wait, go date. Your job doesn't define you. A good partner supports you and doesn't judge you or get jealous or any of that. So I like that too. Yeah. What it comes down to for me is, I understand why you might be embarrassed if you're going out on a date with somebody and you're feeling like they're judging you. I mean, they are. It's a date, but you don't want to have that feeling while you're actually out there. But the truth is, you might have to go through some of that to be able to find somebody who is going to be supportive. We have Veronica here, who says, be upfront about your situation and you should be fine. You're working on it. If it's a long-term relationship, you want to find something where you can grow and change over time anyways. So if someone is scared off by the fact that you're actively working on it and instead wants a perfect ready-made situation, that's a good screener for you. That's exactly where I'm thinking. And then Sarah says, you probably care about this much more than most men do. That's right. Yeah. And again, if the guy is too hung up on it, if you're going to go out on a date with a guy and he gets too hung up on it, then it's clearly not the guy for you. But I mean, dating, it rarely just works out right from the get-go with the very first person you go out with. So you've got to put yourself out there. It might be difficult at first, but hopefully it won't take too long and you might get used to it too. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.